After 31 turns, using my special rules, here at the most dangerous time, what we're seeing is the Iku-Iki, their power was pretty much destroyed on this turn. And luckily the truce isn't in place. I'm going to allow anyone at war with them to play it, which means if the Mori have it, they can play it. They're trying to rebuild their forces up after being basically destroyed at Kyoto, and then on their own turn they attacked the Oda and lost a lot of units there too. So there's actually not a lot left in the dead pile because they're able to regenerate fairly quickly compared to everyone else. Not a lot else happened other than the stab. Well, there was a serious mistake by the anti-Oda neutrals, or not that they may have gotten a move, they did, I think. I'm not sure they could have done much about it. But the Mori used the Ukita to go over and grab their home castle. Now, since they don't have any leaders left, the entire Miyoshi holdings fell to the Ukita. They could have chosen to do it with the Mori, but I wanted to get Ukita builds close to the action, which has been an issue so far. So now we've got that whole northern Miyoshi conquests has just fallen over to the Ukita at least. The danger there is the Ukita might actually go against the Mori at some point. There are cards for that, but I don't know if the entire clan won't, I think. So on the Takeda turn, the Oda clan finally fell. Takeda came in to attack, and they had just drawn, actually, the bonus betrayal card for Hideyoshi. Hideyoshi didn't have any troops with him, but outnumbered, and I mean, the victory would have been theirs anyway for the Takeda. The question was, could they save a leader? And they did. They got Hideyoshi, who's a very cool leader from the Oda. I divided up the territories based on who owns the castles, basically. Which, since the Takeda owned a castle, they got everything that they could link to because they finished them off. But I had these two back here, and I figured, well, I'll give them to the Yasugi. That's only going to be temporary because the Yasugi hold a castle. The Mori don't get anything because they do not have a castle. They also didn't fight much. You know, I'm kind of winging this entirely, like, obviously. So the question is how to divide the troops up. And I was going to combine that to an apportionment. I think mainly I was going to apportion that by spaces, but I might give castles a double value space just to give more troops to the people who are actually holding them. I'm not sure. Certainly there's going to be some slight edge with holding the castles. The final thing is, what about growth points? And there, I think I'm leaning towards one per home castle. So both Usugi and Takeda are going to get an extra growth point for owning the Oda castles, but the Yasugi are going to also get points for the Akai and Asukara castles now. It's just a matter of where the game broke, basically. I think that makes sense. Whether or not someone can gain those points from them by conquering those areas, I don't know. Probably. Because I don't think it's fair to leave the Mori never to grow in terms of their production rate. So the Yasugi are actually going to have pretty high production. They're going to go up 3. They're going to be at 5. The Takeda will go up 1 more, which puts them to 4. And that's about equal with the Mori, who are sitting on 3 of their own and one external. Although I am kind of tempted to give the Ukita another point of it, just because the Miyoshi clan was so potent. So I think I'll give them that too, because the Miyoshi definitely did some cool shit and give a good handoff to them. So that's where I'm thinking. I'll probably screw it up somehow. Okay, so I decided on how I am dividing it up. Everybody got troops 1 per territory they held, pretty much. The 2 castles each got, I think, 3, and Kyoto itself got 2. Just, you know, randomly kind of placing things that way. Conceivably, maybe the Yosegi should have another unit. The problem is the countermix. Obviously, the game's not meant to have anyone but the Oda control the whole map or have this many troops. With the Mori, they haven't gained many troops, so they were able to use their own counters. But if they need more for whatever reason, they're out. So I'm going to start using Oda faction counters for them. They're close in color. The Ikuiki, I debated whether or not to give them a shot at extra troops. I figured it only made sense. So they got a pile of troops as well, because they are a major power in this game, although they are probably going to be withdrawing at some point. The Yasugi was the hardest. I just gave them minor neutral, the anti-Oda miners. They control the one clan that's still on the map that's an anti-Oda miner, and the color is very close to theirs. And finally with the Takeda, again, there's nothing red in the game, so the closest thing I could do was the anti-Oda generic units, which I'm going to use for this. I think that's what they're meant for, actually, is if a clan needs the extra forces. Alright, and I guess we'll continue with this turn. Past turn, everybody's just regrouping at this point. See some pretty significant forces building up in Kyo and the Ikuiki. Both the Yosegi and Takeda are nearly out of additional troops, so their position, they're hoping to be able to act soon. After some repositioning, we're here on turn 35. The Takeda have begun to conquer, I think that was an Akita space. Nah. Yeah, I think so, I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter, they get a card off that. The minor Oda pirate clan has pulled back home rather than risk dying. Now that they've gotten some Mori troops committed to their area, they're going to leave. The Mori will probably try to wipe them out, though. It only makes sense. One thing that Takeda did was they knocked out or they're knocking out the last miner in their back areas, just to give them the extra unit. And the Useda, the Sugi, are moving forward to try to move through the Ikuiki lands. Basically, they're trying to position themselves to make some sort of attack over on the Mori. Right now, their troops are all located up here, so they'll probably swing their main leader up to join them. They did leave a reasonable force back with the castle. Just, it's an important location, but more importantly, it's so vulnerable in case the Takeda stabbed them. Okay, the real reason is they didn't have enough movement points. But they may not end up ever having enough movement points to get them out of there. So